Thank you very much, everybody, for joining, for being here. Thank you, Elena, for being here. This is rather special for you to be here because last time we did a show together, you couldn't be here because it was Corona.
Yeah, that was difficult.
And there is even a leftover from that time, which is this arch here, just in front or behind you. And this is the reminiscence of that time. It was an artwork Elena built for our last show, but I actually executed in the end through FaceTime with my own bare hands. And I think it came out rather nice. Mm-hmm. And she quality checked it only for half a day when we finally had like 5 minutes to get out of the country, a slot of 5 minutes, flying to Zürich, watching, seeing the show and having to fly back.
Yeah, that's the time when the frontiers open.
The frontiers opened, yes.
And then they closed again. Yes. So I was lucky to come.
Exactly, yeah. So we left this here because it was, I loved it so much. It was one of the first shows we did. And it was something that gave the space, even that touch of something, a sense of character which I loved so much, a leftover, because it was not just an architectural intervention, it was also, it had a purpose because it allowed us to sit inside the space and take a breather and enjoy the shows that are around us. And so I thought it was just perfect. We painted it white because it had a color when you did it. Mm-hmm. And it's become the signifier of the gallery ever since. And every artist that followed really liked it, which we couldn't know exactly at the time. And it became, they interacted with it and so on. So thank you again.
You're welcome.
Well done. That's, I think, the point with Elena. She is almost also an architect, almost also a designer, definitely an artist. And she's being very playful with this, with these genres and with what is what means what, how can you use what, and she teaches herself to be perfectioning her practice in these different genres to an extent where I think like you're a bit of a genius. Because it's just wonderful how you treat material, how you paint, draw, design, and how you are this level of detail towards the material is really mesmerizing for me. And
yet, maybe it's too much to consider me an architect or a designer because it's like too many work for that. But it's true that I always like to work with architecture. I'm used to work in site-specific projects also, and I always take care with the ambient of the shows. So in this first show, for me, it was important to make all the space like only one thing, and in that case, it was only paintings in the walls. So. And then this installation in the middle, so it was important for me to create like this unique space in all the shows.
Look at the sculptures, when you look at your work, there is so much care in how you put things, but also how you are composing them with each other and how you make them interact with each other. It's a true experience, and you've had some amazing shows and an amazing progression in your work. So maybe let's talk a little bit about this because I came off script already. But we are here amongst your a recent series called Kind and Sharp. It is like everything with you. One thing leads to another, as in there is a real direct connection between what happened before and maybe even before and before and before. It is quite a natural progression. But this Kind and Sharp is a little bit also an end for something that you've been doing, and also a beginning for something that you are going to do. It is an end because these works have been called Kind and Sharp. I call them painting on papers, by the way, because I think they're so painterly and carefully composed, and you play with material. It looks as if you use thousands of different means and medium to make these, but actually often there are not that many, but you make it appear as if. But that's something else we can talk about a little bit later. But we've been doing this for some time, and you arrive now at our show, and we are proud that you called the show what you called your paintings for many, many years, or for a few years. And so for you, you told me, and as we said in a press release, this is now for you also to say, like, maybe there is a door closed with this. You feel satisfied with what you have done in this series, with this series, and now you're opening a new door, which is the sculptural project here. Mm-hmm. So maybe tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, this series of paintings, I've been doing them for like 3 or 4 years, and they come from looking to the white spaces and the empty spaces in the drawings before, because all the structures or the volumes that I was, the shapes and the forms that I was working with, they were all like the kind part, and then I realized how sharp and pointed were the empty spaces. Also, when I did my models for the sculpture, for example, the pieces left, they were very sharp and very like bit of dangerous even. So I started this series that tried to combine this feeling of a structure or a body that is kind, that is it holds you, it's a place where you can be comfort, mixed with pointed and sharp shapes or forms. So it's kind of also thinking about conflict between when you are trying to be strong and beautiful, all the conflicts you find in the way, in your body and also in the things that surrounds you. So these series are mixing these two things. I also like using a language that is very technical, like architectural plans, which are supposed to give you a very clear information, and you're supposed to understand which material is each piece, or the dimensions, the scales, what are you looking at. But it's a bit like they have this lack of this information. You need to scale the things and understand what you're looking at the end.
Yeah, you need a key maybe to access it, but the key is a different one for everybody, I feel like. And so the kind and sharp is not, and as I wrote in the press release, it's no coincidence that a person or a body comes to mind, because as you just said, the connection to the body is there for you and it's important to you, but it is not just the body as a body, but it is the body also as a tool, maybe, is the body the natural part of the body versus maybe the design part of the body, and then a body also meaning volume, meaning space. So they are they then turn into architectural drawings or designs almost as well. So they are between the interpretation of a temple area or of an architectural drawing, or from looking from above into like really, and today somebody was saying actually cellular, like if you go really close, you know, when you have these kind of amoeba type of shapes, you could also look into like the really close, the cellular area of our skin or our bodies.
And also there's the idea that there is a design, like a plan, and mixed with this haptic part of the work that takes you also to a more natural, organic thing that is given by the technique also, and the way of production of the works.
Yeah, I was raising the question in the press release, like who or what is kind and sharp? Because maybe you can answer this.
I think everyone, at least.
Because it is actually the opposite almost. Or not, is it not the opposite, but it is, it could be a clash.
I think more or less we all have this conflict.
It's a little bit like this and then this. Could be both. You know, you have both, you know, like stroking and being very kind, but also you have this kind of like fierceness to yourself, to oneself.
That's also the starting point of the you were talking about. Are these sculptures made by leather and metal, which are flexible. So they have this double appearance that they are moldable and adaptable to a body. They can be shown in different shapes, and they make a drawing like the empty space inside. They make a drawing of different silhouettes, but also they are hardened in some parts, so it's a bit of an armor. Also, it's very a decorative piece, like a cover that protects you, but also that makes you more beautiful.
Yeah, there is this. You've jumped now from the paintings into the sculptures, and yeah, that there is a specialty. I mean, I don't know if everybody knows, but the sculptures, as you just said, they're moldable in the sense we position them like this now. They speak with the works on the wall, but they could also be opened up. They could be separated. This sculpture here is made from two different pieces. Connected in the center just because we wanted it like this, but it can be also done in a different way. And I love that these multiple layers of meaning and interpretation that is possible with your work. And as you just mentioned now, I think you mentioned, you know, design, but you know, bracelets, furniture. You spoke with me before about Viennese secessionists and Hoffmann and his use of the circle and the round shape, how it was structural but also design. And you bringing in this language. I don't think necessarily, I don't consider them as influence, but you bring in this type of language and this level of, and you're using it to interpret it, to bringing it further and to using it as a means to create further interpretations for your work. And I think that makes them really deep, but also very, very beautiful. If you think of you said, you know, when I looked at this piece, for example, there in the corner, or this one, I immediately think of like beautiful bracelets, maybe women bracelets, but not necessarily. But then they're way too big. But then you can suddenly think about a giant person maybe holding this or wearing it. But as you said, it could also be the beginning of, it could be just natural material to use and cut to create something else from it. And then there's the design element and what it is it used for, and it is very soft and you want to touch it. Everything you kind of want to touch with your work.
Also, on the other hand, it's like the pattern, it's a perfect rectangle. So if you open it, it's just a very geometric shape. Like it's really far from what a body is, because it's really straight, the design. And not, also there is also a play with the scale, because it could be elonged or like if it was a cut of a piece. Also all the drawings could be a cut of a volume, the image that is left when you cut a volume.
Yeah, I wrote down it's on the exact line between slick design and the body and the flesh. So, and this I find really, as a thought, extremely interesting, because it holds it beautifully suspended in this way. It is neither one nor the other, but there is a suspension between the two. Also, if you think about it politically, of course, you know, the body and the design, and today our, looking at our own definitions of sexuality, gender, and so on, but it is not clearly saying one or the other, but it is at this beautiful balance, and it holds it so nicely, and makes it really accessible also, because it is saying something, I think, your work, which is shareable by literally everybody. And I find that a great quality in your work, because you mention the subject, you bring it up, but you also put us all to the same terms in a way. And I love how you are then giving us this opportunity to find our own keys to interpret it, especially when it comes to body parts. You know, one person sees, you know, maybe the cheeks, nipples, or what is in there, but it could also be something completely different. And
I always try to find the shapes and the final work to look very sensual, but it's given because for the shapes, but also for the techniques and the materiality. And yesterday we had a talk also with Emily, and she was asking about this, and I told her I like the shapes I use. I normally try to find forms or parts of the body that are very sensual, but don't relate to gender. Specific gender.
Specificity. Yeah. Where is that coming from in your process, in your thinking, like to arrive at this balance? You know, I've been to your studio. You have these beautiful materials. Wood, I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but this wood there, these knobs, it's the natural color of the wood, so it's not painted in any way. There's something really magnetic about that. There's other surfaces, you study surfaces, really. You look at them very closely for a long time, and you fake them. By creating them, painting them, and they look, as I said in the beginning, maybe like the actual object. You go as far as like the sculpture there in the corner called Eye Pillow, as you have done with many sculptures before. You like a little. I was saying this before to you. I feel like you're almost like an alchemist. You're kind of like finding ways to recreate a material, like you know, marble is one of your big loves. You love marble, and you are creating marble from plaster and resin. by mixing it together, and you could not tell the difference. I couldn't, like when you look at this sculpture over there. So I wonder, where is that coming from, and why is it that you're not using the actual material, but you are getting into this realm of practice, of yeah, I call it faking it, but I think maybe that's a better term.
Well, I work in my workshop. I like doing the things myself, and I love materials and working with the materials and touching them. I try to do all myself, although with the sculpture I usually work with help. And I love wood, I love touching different kinds of wood, watching them, and for example with stones and plaster, which I have worked a lot, I like playing with the solidity and the liquid appearance of the material. So these eye pillows, for example, they look very soft, like pillows, like they have also these carved little holes, but actually they are like the heaviest sculptures in the show. And yeah, so
and they also look like eyes. I love how you play with one is one thing, but it might be the other thing. Like when you look at them from you come in, they look like comic drawings of eyes looking at you. And then they look.
Yeah, and you cannot be completely sure if it's hard or if it's soft.
Yeah. Yeah.
So plaster, for example, is liquid. It's worked in a very completely different way. You make this liquid and it flows in a silhouette. But then the stone, you have to carve it and take pieces out. So it's like a complete different process.
And you prefer the other process, the liquid, to the hard process.
Yeah, I love that material, and also finding different textures. Also with drawing, yeah, for me it's like kind of the time that it takes to work on that and to stay feeling the materials and how they work, how they stand, and how they are seen, is what it's like kind of a meditation process. It's the time when I'm thinking about the work, like playing and touching and moving things, like placing them in different orders, or so. Yeah, this kind of process really close to materiality, it's very important in the development of all the works.
And you translate this so beautifully and give this to us, so I think I sometimes almost feel like I have to thank you, because the time you spend with this material and the love you give the material, the care you give to the making of the work, it really translates, and you make us, maybe I think me at least, slow down and care about it and wanting to discover it and have that sensibility and that sensualness towards the material as well, that desire to kind of engage with it in a more conscientious way. And I think that's a great, so thank you for that as well. I think it's a great quality about your work. Because not everybody can do that, I think. But I think I want to also talk a little bit about this, what they signify and what they say, and maybe the influences on one hand. Because when, as an art historian or as somebody who studied art history, you see a lot of things they can relate to in art history, but you see a lot of things also where you take this diluted, what you may see in them in terms of movements and what has been done before. And there's what I love about the works, what is really a special quality is they talk about the past, they talk very much about the presence, as we said, with body and the design and the functionality and how you can design maybe your own body in today's time, but many other parts too, in terms of the past, when you think of symbols, temple areas, like an ancient language seems to be in front of you. But I feel also they're quite futuristic. There is this kind of like robotic look to it too, like almost like looking into the future. I'm not sure there's a question connected to that, but is that something you think about in consciously also about?
Yeah, I think there are different moments in history that I'm more close to, but I take things like from many different places and disciplines. Mm-hmm. But it's true that, for example, the beginning of 20th century with ornaments and this time where the furniture and architecture is getting clean of ornament, but it's still have all these beautiful details compared to what came after. Mm-hmm. And also Romanic art or medieval art, that both are these two times are also very related to artisan work and importance to artisan work. So there are things that I usually look in these times.
Mm-hmm. And what about the future?
The future, we don't know.
But that robotic element that I think is quite poignant in your language in a way.
It is because also the kind and sharp is a bit of a feeling when you have not enough with what you have naturally and you need like technical solutions, scientific solutions.
Yeah.
So it's also
in
a bit of
the body.
Yeah. So it's also a bit of this feeling that you have this natural structure, but you have to complete it also with, or maybe you can even enjoy or like doing it, multiplying elements or reproducing maybe a form you like, something you like.
Well, that's what I was trying to get at, because if the people who know your work, they know that you are using certain symbols, certain bricks more often than once. So they are like, you come up with new designs all the time, but certain things repeat themselves. And I was talking in a press release a little bit about the concrete as an art movement, which used also, I don't know the English translation, like puzzle pieces almost, in order to construct their work. And you have your own puzzle pieces, but you you create them, but they kind of reappear in your work. And so that's what I mean with also the futuristic or maybe the constructed or the designed, because you take this and you can also apply it there and you can apply it here, but then a complete new outcome comes from it.
Yeah, it has also a bit of a modular structure, also the sculptures, because they look like they can be autonomous, but you could also put more together and build something bigger. Mm-hmm. And the same with the drawings. There are shapes that are repeated in different drawings, but with different materials, or maybe like replacements also, or things added to a structural shape or volume.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I want to slowly stop talking and maybe wonder if anybody in the audience has a question. After this, I just wanted to mention one thing, which goes back to what we said about in the beginning of your different types of practices, and something that was very exciting recently, where an arch, not our arch, but another arch that you made, is going to the permanent collection of the Reina Sofia. It's a really, really beautiful, incredible object, bringing all your skills together. It's molded, it's a bit painted or drawn on using color. And maybe my last question, this arch thing, which also appears in many of your works, or you're not sure, is it, again, is it an arch you actually designed here to go through? You could see that in almost everything. But an arch is quite important to you because of where you're from and your family's from. And can you tell me why or what this relates to?
Yes, well, we have been visiting in our life. We have a very nice Romanic art in Spain, and that was one of the influence in this art you are mentioned. It was titled Antojo.
Antojo. What does Antojo mean?
Antojo, it's when you have it's told when you have a desire when you are pregnant. Then
anticipation.
Then it's marked on the body of your child. So they get born with maybe like a little shape with like it's called antojo.
A birthmark.
A birthmark, yeah. It's called antojo. It has like a shape. And also, that's like what is a bit strange thing. It's also when you have like a desire for something.
Yeah.
Like
it means both.
Yes. Well, it means like having a desire of something. For example, if you have you really feel you need to eat ice cream, then you say you have antojo of ice cream.
A craving.
Because it's like
craving.
Craving.
Yeah. Whim.
Craving.
Whim. Can it be whim? The translation?
Whim.
You do something on a whim.
It's probably craving.
I'm not sure. I'm sorry for my English.
Let's leave it there. Ambiguous. And but anyway, does anybody have a burning question? Anything? Yeah.
It's not burning, but
Yeah.
maybe this was like answered at least partially already. But I was just wondering about sort of the starting point of each of the works. I haven't had the time to walk around and look yet, but do you sort of mostly start with like a sort of specific idea or a theme or a concept? Or do you start sort of with like forms in mind and then you sort of develop the work from there, or something else?
In this case, I was working with the previous drawings. We had these very rounded shapes, and the empty spaces are also. I work with stencils to protect the white spaces. So. For example, in my studio, in the floor, there are like lots of these stencils, and they are all like pointed and with these shapes. So this series started a bit with these compositions of the empty spaces and the painted spaces in the drawings before.
Okay, so it was like a response to those works.
Yeah, for me it's like I would number all my work like. Put a title and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because for me it's very continuous work. It's different to it's difficult for me to find like a break between one work to another, mostly in painting. So yeah, I cannot say like the starting point because it's like, I don't know, it's a very continuous process.
And when I said in the beginning that this is the end of, or maybe the end of those type of drawings and this is the beginning, so what's gonna, are you gonna stop making those type of paintings now, or works on paper?
I don't think so, because painting this way has been like, it's what I've been doing all since I started making art. So sculpture is a bit new in my work, but drawing is like the place for me to think about the things and all the other works. It's like a medium. Like this practice is like the place and the moment when I think about all the rest of the things. So I don't think I will stop doing
drawings. No, but this type of kind and sharp series, right? You said you might change.
Yeah, my idea is to change, to find now, like I will put like kind of a starting point, these metal and leather sculptures, which I'm very happy with them.
Yeah.
And it opened like a full wide range of things I want to do. So I don't know, let's see what comes.
I'm curious. Well, I think that's a kind of a nice ending point, unless somebody wanted to still ask something. Oh yeah.
First of all, thank you both for the elaborating talk. In terms of color choice, it seems very appealing to the eye, or at least to my eyes, also as a harmonious palette. But thinking about kind and sharp again, like what is the approach in the color scheme a little bit?
The colors are a bit, they come a bit of the materials I have in the studio, like the colors of wood, the colors of ceramic, like the pigments or other elements that I've been using in the sculpture. So it relates to other materials like brass or copper or metals. Also the pastel, they have also pastel, and I also use it kind of adding like makeup at the end when I'm ending the drawings, like adding this pastel color. So sometimes they make a contrast with the colors in the back, and other times they try to be the same, you know, like when you make what you do in your skin, that sometimes you try to make the same color, and other times you do like fantasy, you know, using other colors. So it's a bit also like this.
Yeah, this looks like a person who has been putting on too much makeup. You told me this before.
But not with
not
that
with
one.
this one. So that just leaves me with the last thing that I wanted to mention, that we producing a catalog of this show, which we have photographed all the works professionally, also the installation shots. It will feature that, and then it will feature also a small short introduction by myself, but then most importantly a great feature, more academically approached text by Emily Steer, right, who was here just 2 days ago, and I think you had a really good time. So it's going to be a really interesting project. And if you are interested in that catalog, there is back there a little subscribe sheet, and then you can pre-order it, and if not, then anytime when it's available. But hopefully it'll be ready in 3 to 5 weeks. It depends on whether we're happy with the photographs and all of that. But yeah, thank you so much, Elena. And
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy you're actually
you,
here
Fabian.
now for your show.
Thank you for hosting this show here.
Yes, of course. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.